local matters. President Trump is weighing in on last night's history-making primary races in Florida and Arizona. In a tweet earlier, he wrote, quote, "Big election wins last night. The Republican Party will make America great again." Actually, it is happening faster than anybody thought possible. It is morphing into Keep America Great. Well, to help break down last night's results, we are joined now by CBS News political contributor and Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez, as well as CBSN political contributor and Democratic strategist Lynda Tran. She's also the founding partner of 270 Strategies, and she joins us from Washington. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies, to break this all down. So we're going to start, Lynda, with you in Florida, right? This was definitely sort of a history-making race in Florida. We've got a progressive Democrat, Andrew McGillen, the mayor of Tallahassee, pulling off a stunning upset, sort of a come-from-behind upset to secure his party's nomination by about 30%. He's going to go head-to-head against Ron DeSantis, who is supported by Donald Trump. Also a bit of an upset there. A tweet from Donald Trump really sort of pushed him over the top. So how significant of a win is this for Democrats, and what can we expect come November?
Well, what we can expect is two campaigns and two candidates that could not be more polar opposite. You know, on the right side, you've got Ron DeSantis, who, as you mentioned, Anne Marie, was backed by Donald Trump, is somebody who is a frequent Fox News guest and is going to be, you know, talking about making America great in every way that you can imagine. And on the left, you've got Andrew Gillum, who is a Medicare for All proponent. He is young, African-American, booster for grassroots supporters and organizing across the state, and is backed by Bernie Sanders, among other progressive organizations and individuals. And so you can expect the campaign platforms to be dramatically divergent, and you can expect them to go head-to-head on a number of issues, ranging from taxes to health care to everything else that is a kitchen table issue that matters to voters in the state.
Do you think that Gillum can compete, though, in November? I mean, it looks, at least from the numbers, that he got a lot of his support in cities, a lot of his support from African-American voters. Can his message translate across the entire state?
You know, I think it absolutely can. And you have to remember that Florida is a place that is, you know, more of a battleground, certainly the largest, but more of a battleground than we've seen across the country. You know, Donald Trump won there in 2016, but it was a squeaker, just over 1%. And of course, Barack Obama won in 2012 and just under 1%. So it is a state that is just walking the line between the parties. And when you think about the general election electorate, Ron DeSantis has got to be concerned about those independents and those moderate Republicans who may not be so excited about the fact that he has bear-hugged Donald Trump, and those who might be really excited about the idea of a history-making candidate such as Andrew Gillum.
All right. So, Leslie, let's continue with Republicans, or continue with Florida. Sure. Republicans are hoping to turn one of the state Senate seats red. We have Governor Rick Scott up against incumbent Senator Bill Nelson. Now, the president has thrown his support behind the governor, and, hey, it worked for DeSantis. Could it work for Rick Scott?
It's working for many candidates, and the distinction is for qualified candidates with good credentials who are viable. It can't be this kind of way extreme right candidate that has no experience. That is a failure, right? Regardless of, there's no power of a Trump tweet that is going to get them over the finish line. Right. What's fascinating here, and Lynda's exactly right, the dynamics are going to change because now independent voters are going to be looking at not just the Senate race that we're talking about, but that gubernatorial. You can't deny it's going to increase turnout. You're going to have many more fickle voters who are maybe not going to want somebody so progressive on the left or the right. Mm-hmm. But what Trump's effect does is it generates interest, excitement, and money. And that's a very big positive for the Republican Party. So from that perspective, I think it's going to line up well for the gubernatorial and the Senate.
Very interesting. Lynda, the president also tweeted his endorsement of Republican establishment favorite Arizona Congresswoman Martha McSally. She won a contest there between candidates who all tried to closely align themselves with the president. They're all trying to sort of out-Trump each other. At this point, do Democrats believe that they still have a real shot at actually retiring Senate Jeff Flake's seat and turning it into a Democratic seat?
Well, you know, what's interesting about Arizona is in the same way that Florida is a squeaker, Arizona is yet again another state where there is a very strong middle, a strong independent mindset that may be interested in supporting a Democrat. So there's definitely a shot there for Kyrsten Sinema, and certainly a place the Democrats are going to continue to focus. And similar to Florida, you know, Martha McSally has been someone, as you mentioned in the field, who was very much trying to align herself with Donald Trump, and that plays well in a Republican primary situation, but may not play so well, again, with the general election electorate, with people who are turned off by, you know, Donald Trump's caustic style and some of these other significant issues that have been raised over the last 18 or so months.
You know, Lynda raised a good point. People do not like the unorthodox approach. They don't like his personality. They don't like the flawed character of the president, but they like consumer confidence is high. They like the strong economy. They like that he's talking about closing the borders. That is really what it's going to come down to. Do you want to regulate government or keep the good times rolling, so to speak? And that's really what we're going to be hearing from the president as he's on the campaign trail. And this race in Arizona is one to watch. Two very competent, highly credentialed women. It's good to see women at the top of the ticket really making a change in Arizona, and that's what the future leadership on the left or the right is going to look like.
Yeah, either way, it's going to be a history-making election, right?
Absolutely. Very strong candidates, though. That's very qualified.
So, Leslie, I want to ask you about a report about President Trump. He had sort of a meeting with evangelicals at the White House, I believe, and he was overheard saying that to evangelical leaders that that if the Democrats take over the House, they will, quote, overturn everything we've done, and they'll do it quickly and violently. What do you make of that report? And does the rest of the party sort of go along with that line?
It's another example of the president playing into fear. You know, candidates talk about, and they kind of encourage fear, and this president is one who really goes to the dark side of that. And it's unfortunate. Maybe he was doing it because it's a faith community and he feels it has a larger implication in terms of how they read that message. I don't know what that dog whisper was there, but I will say people are fundamentally going to look at the economy, they're going to look at strong leadership, and they're going to want balance. Strong leadership with balance, which is why I think it's such an open playing field. There may be people that read more into that, but I think, again, it's just kind of hearkening to the president's style of going on cultural and race issues when the rest of the country wishes he would not.
What do you suppose he had that meeting with these evangelical leaders? Is he concerned about maintaining that connection? This
is about turning out the base and showing. So the base community, one of the issues was protection of religious liberties, looking at the Supreme Court jurists and justices that he's going to nominate. He's actually executed on those things that they called for. So it's like, let the good times roll. Let me continue this new change of leadership. Let's continue to move America in this direction. I'm going to protect your religious liberties. That's what he's saying there. Though his tone and his style is unorthodox, but I think that's the message that the faith community is going to hear.
Well, they were not bothered by his tone and style before.
They're looking at the bigger picture. They're looking at the Supreme Court. They're looking at, will he make the right decision on those key factors at a critical time? And so far he has.
Leslie Sanchez, Lynda Tran, thank you so much, ladies.